So every week, these kids go to the field, they practice. Saturday or Sunday, they play. If you're a good player, you play a lot. If you're so-so, but you know, at the end of the week, I'm going to play. Boxing's not like that. You might train for 2 years and not have a fight.
I'm a former Detroit police officer and rode with the One Percenter Motorcycle Club. During that time, I was involved in a lot of altercations. I had a gun shoved in my face. The trigger was pulled, and I got a plate under my left eye. I'm Manny Vitale, and this is my story. All right, how you doing, everybody? I'm Manny Vitale, host of My Fight, Our War. And today, got an old friend, special guest, and that is Coach Dave. How you doing, brother?
Manny, honored to be here. Good to see you again. Sitting on this side today, you know what I mean?
The last time I was here, I was fortunate enough to be a guest on Coach Dave's show, and hit it off, had a great time, and kind of reminiscing about, the same kind of era and the mindset and all that stuff,
right.
And it really hit off. And so then when I flew to Detroit back home, you were nice enough to come on our show.
Yep.
And now we're back here every 6 weeks we're filming. And, of course, we had to get you back.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. It's an honor. Great cause. We had a great time the first time. I thought it's what you're doing is real, honorable, serious work out there. You're here now in the studio, and you got the bug.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, you just heard we were talking. We've been here since Friday. And 12 shows in 3 days. And,
I know. That's amazing.
But it's worth it, man, because we get guys like you to tell their story.
Yeah. Well, the same, and that's how we make it work for both of us because, what you're doing, there's so many stories out there now with people that need to tell their story, to be heard, to be validated that what they went through is not, unheard of, or it's not anything to hide anymore. Tell it. Be out there. You know what? There are people that want to listen. There are people that want to help.
Yeah, and that is so true, man, because I've always said that, because right now with My Fight or War, we deal with a lot of addiction, mental health issues, PTSD, just anything, and a lot of just to show that just because you're dealt with a situation, just like with addiction or anything else that knocks you down, it's not a death sentence, man. And we're all living proof of that. And thank God we got people like you who do what you do. And it's great because you're starting with the youth.
Yeah.
And I remember that's something that really caught my attention. So why don't you just kind of, let's go back and how you got this thing going, to the training, to the gym, and to all the people that you're helping as far as from youth, amateur to the pros.
Listen, boxing found me. I didn't find boxing. And this is something that we talk about. I was not a boxer growing up. I was a baseball player. And I was a baseball player like I lived it, ate it, drank it. My dad was a coach. So I had played baseball all through college at a very high level. I was blessed to have great coaches around me growing up. And for the dynamic, and you come out of the same dynamic as I do, a lot of these coaches weren't paid. There were no Instagrams. There were no social media putting up, hey, I'm Coach Joey. I get $20 an hour. I'll take care of your kid, blah, 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 blah. The coaches put time in on their own, not for money, for passion. So I saw that growing up. I had a lot of great mentors at different levels, my father being one of them. And, that always instilled a work ethic in me. I was not a very talented athlete. I had to work very hard, harder than most people. And, to kind of put it, I love the saying by Dana White, and if you've seen it on the videos, it's okay. Tell me no, fuck you, I'm going to prove you wrong. And that was kind of my attitude growing up as a kid. When I got done playing ball, I was at a loss. You do something your whole life, and, now there's no ends to the mean. You're playing softball, summer league, having fun with your friends. And growing up, there were no gyms like today, no Planet Fitnesses. My dad had a friend who was a trainer in a boxing gym, because back in those days, the boxing gyms had weights, physical training, physical fitness, So I went there to be conditioned for baseball. And it incorporated boxing. Drills, hit the bag, do stuff like that, but never with the anticipation I was going to be a fighter.
Just more fitness.
More fitness stuff. And I liked it, and my dad was a big boxing guy. I liked boxing growing up. So fast forwarding, I come out, I'm working, I'm like lifting weights, but there's, I'm staying in shape, but I need something. I need something to, if I'm going to do it, what am I going to do? I need an end.
You need that. You've always been competitive.
Yeah.
So you needed to have that end goal.
Yeah. So I go into a boxing gym, start working with a couple of trainers, and, man, love it right away, right? I meet this old-time trainer, Jimmy Santangelo, out of Don Bosco in Portchester, New York, who was a very good trainer. And I'm in the gym training, and I'm in better shape in those days, And, he sees me coming in, putting in the work, and he's like, no, why don't we put you in the gloves? Why don't we do this? And I was like, nah, that's not. I just started a business at the time. I'm working. I said, I don't mind sparring in the gym, but I know I'm not that good. Like, I'm just, like, it's grit. I'm taking shots, and I'm just. So we go through that for a while, and, I pick his brain, learn, lapse a couple of years, and I meet a friend of mine who opens up a boxing gym in the South Bronx. Pastor Ralph Farrar, who was one of my mentors. And, you don't just walk in and you become a trainer. It's a test, like anything in life, right? Mm-hmm. It's a test. They want to see what you're made of. They want to see what kind of grit you got. Are you willing to do this, that, and the other thing? And go through the steps, carry the buckets, wrap hands, put gloves on, wipe sweat, give water. Don't say nothing because you're not a trainer. You're an apprentice. And, I learned a lot and eventually was, able to work with different fighters at the time, which we were very successful. But at that time, just to kind of make this quick so it's not long, I was moving. I had moved to Connecticut, got married, and I'd lost boxing for a little while, because life. I had kids, my wife, my family, working. Comes the itch again, go back in the gym. And I meet a fighter. At the time, we had become friends because we were working out at the time. And then he was a professional fighter, Finelli Feliz, whose son Ali just won last night. Ali Feliz and on Type Rank on ESPN. Congratulations. And we become friendly. And we're exercising together at this time. We're not boxing. And he comes back in one day and he's all beat up, right? Like I really wasn't. I knew he was a fighter, but I didn't know. Bro, what the hell happened to you? You look like I got hit by a friggin' truck. He goes, I took a last-minute fight. I went here. He tells me, the guy, I said, you took a last-minute fight in Vegas. You fought a 10-round fight against this guy? This guy's fighting all the time. Yeah, I'm having problems, whatever. So we became friendly, and I'm like, listen, we're here. You need whatever. And we started working together. He introduced me and brought me into the professional level of boxing. Whereas, like, a lot of people start, and takes years. I started, and I was able to travel with him. I was able to go to camps that he was involved in, fights. I was in Germany, wherever he was, around top trainers, and doing my internship, sitting there, learning. No phones at that time, okay? We had Motorola, the, like, two-ways in those days.
Yeah, the little walkie-talkie thing going on.
Then it was like a BlackBerry.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was with him, I'd go back to the hotel at night and I'd write everything down. I still have the books, right? So he, first of all, has a very good, high boxing IQ and is a coach right now, top trainer. He trained Glover Teixeira in MMA, Alex Pereira. He's training both his talented son, Finelli Feliz Jr., who's undefeated, 8-0, Ali Feliz, who's 5-0 right now. He's got a very good boxing IQ. So to be around like that, and, we're students, right? We want to learn, right? So I always I wanted to learn. It's like if I'm going to do something, I need to learn how to do it, and I want to learn, right? So we end up working together a little bit, and then his kids are coming up, and, but Danbury doesn't have a gym at this time. So, we're working out of the Harambee Center. We're going to New York. We're working out of his basement here and there. It's really no programs, and till he finished out his career, and now we're working with younger kids. And, AJ Galante comes, and he opens Champs Boxing. And
that's where you are now.
That's where I am now. And we talked, and he was like, why don't you come down? And, for people like anything else, boxing is a love-hate. And I tell people, boxing's like a bad girlfriend, okay? You hate her one day, and then you run back to her the next day. You know what I mean? It's just, it's tough to explain, when you're in it. And I don't know. Part of me said, like, yeah. So, in the beginning stages of Champs, there wasn't a lot of action going on. And I went down and kind of just navigated through. It was mostly Finelli's kids. There were a couple other kids coming in, working with them. And then little by little, more kids started to come in. More coaches started to come in. Got one of the coaches, Benny Little. He's a former three-time world champion kickboxer. Great coach working there now. And we started to mesh, and we started to get more kids in and build. And it kind of takes a life of its own. Like you can't plan it because you're just doing it. You
don't know which way. You're
not saying, okay, I'm here coaching, and yes, we're going to have 5 pros come in and 6.
You don't know who's going to walk through that door.
You don't know. So you're doing the blocking and tackling every day, the basic coaching, fundamental, because you love it, and I still love it. Don't get me wrong. And that environment that we have right now that AJ has put together for us is the Taj Mahal compared. Listen, I was at a gym in the South Bronx on 152nd Street in Prospect. Okay, Cornerstone Boxing was a storefront. We didn't have a ring. We had ropes tied off. The bathroom was a hole in the wall with 4 pieces of plywood. Okay? That's it. Put out some great fighters. Okay? But what we have here now is we have a culture. So it makes what we do a lot easier because now we've from the beginning, AJ put his dues in also with all of us because it wasn't taken off right away. It was like, okay, we're here, but now let's see. We got to build it. You know what I mean?
The name out, the reputation.
Yes. And to build it, it takes a village. So trainers, so many people that are behind the scenes here that have helped, coaches, sponsors, people that donate. So it's now at another level of where I'm at. I originally, believe it or not, with my coaching, I thought I was going to be a baseball coach. Well, everything was geared around baseball, right? And that's what, and I just, it wasn't for me. And like people who know me and people who grew up with me in our time, that's all we did. And now it's like I don't have the interest in baseball as I did growing up. I still watch it, don't get me wrong, but not like I used to. But coaching, I think, comes from your mentors, the people that are around you. And I've had, like I said, my dad, I've had some really, really good mentors growing up, all give you a different lesson in life at every level. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Then the thing is, you're turning into like, especially what you're doing, hitting from youth, amateur pros. The youth, man, it starts with the kids. Especially, I'm sure you've seen it. A lot of these kids are growing up without a dad. So they don't have it. So like for you just mentioned how you had a lot of great coaches. I had the same thing growing up because I came from a split family.
Yeah.
They were more than a coach to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, you develop that relationship. It's like family.
Yeah, no.
Kind of like what you guys got at Champs. It's like a family.
Yeah, and you know, Manny, you hit it right on the head today. Today's a little different. Society is different than when we grew up, okay? You know, from our conversations, you grew up similar to me.
Yeah.
As a kid. You know, the environment or the universe grounded you growing up, okay? So what do I mean, right? If you were a wise ass in your neighborhood around your crew or your guys, somebody checked you somewhere. You were not a constant wise ass without getting a smack from somebody or a beating, right? You didn't go running out and, you know, look for revenge. You picked into your spot, and that was it. You didn't crumble. You learned your lesson, all right? And the universe is not checking itself anymore today.
You got that right.
So, yes, and there are a lot of people, split families, you know, kids with issues, you know. I don't know. Are they softer? I think they are a little bit because, you know, we were talking about out there, man. Played in dirt, drank water out of a rubber hose, right? You see a kid do that today, a mother's going to go ballistic.
You'll be up for having your kid do that. It'll be child abuse. You know,
Yeah.
But now they're looking at what kind of water. You know, what brand is that?
Well, you're right. You need the $20 Yeti to go to the gym. Bullshit.
You know, you were talking about the gym that you were back in the day, where the ropes were tied to a pole and the bathroom was the sewer, and you know, but that was the gym. It wasn't a spa.
No.
If you wanted to go and get a massage, go to the spa. If you want to train, you go to the gym, and that's where.
Yeah, but you know, I get it. Look, we all fall into things. We want to live better and be comfortable. We want our children to be better and comfortable than we were. There's nature on that, you know. And look, we're not going to take the way we grew up and show somebody. Okay, kids are not going to realize when you tell them you had 12 channels on the TV. They don't. What do you mean 12 channels? What were 12 channels? Or you listen to games on the radio, okay?
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to somebody the other day, right? We were talking about movies, old movies, all right? My father was an old movie guy, right? You know, growing up, we started with one TV. It was one color TV. Then we had a black and white TV, right? A small black and white, right? You watched what your parents watched if you wanted to watch. You didn't, you know, or you didn't watch TV. So if they were watching a movie and you wanted to watch television with them, you know, and my father was like, I'm watching my movie. I don't give a shit what you want. You know, there's no educational TV show on here now that you need to watch. He was watching his movie, right?
Yeah, you're not going in the other room jumping on a computer.
Yeah,
you're either
right,
go play with your
right.
buddies or,
Yeah.
play.
That's it. But, you know, today everything is, you know, gratification. With getting back to the youth, the boxing gym, okay, is... First of all, there are no emails. There are no, you know, we are not going to hurt your children, but we're going to talk to your children in a way that maybe they have not been talked to, and they're going to have a sense of responsibility when you walk in here.
So you're talking about Champs right now.
Yeah, we're talking about Champs, and we're talking about the fundamental of youth coming in.
So like if as a parent, I come to you and say, Coach, you know, what am I expecting that you're going to do for my child here? And you tell them what you were just getting at.
Well, listen, first of all, we're going to sit down. We're going to talk about your kid.
Okay.
Tell us about your kid. Mm-hmm. You know, are they playing sports? What are they a student? What are they? You know, and everybody wants to talk about their kid. And we're going to say, look, they're going to come here. They're going to be expected to work. This is not a hangout. We're not here playing. We're not on our phones. There are a lot of people in here. We're not going to put them in a situation where it's dangerous or anything like that for them or that they are going to get hurt. But we are going to give them responsibility. And you know what? We're not going to tell Johnny, hey, you're doing so well and give him a prize at the end of the day. You know, and I'm like, I tell everybody, I might not be your cup of tea because, you know, like, I'm going to call it like I see it. If you're not working, you're not working. Like, I'm not like, dude. But, you know, and a lot of the parents are buying into having that where their kids are coming back. You know,
That discipline.
Kids are getting
Respect.
bullied. The work ethic.
See, that's another thing, coaches. When, like you said, boxing too, the love-hate, but it also gets kind of for the layperson who wants to come into it, they're like, well, all you're doing is teaching violence. You're teaching how to hurt people. What do you tell the people who think, well, how is that going to help my child grow as a person if you're just teaching them to beat people up?
You're not teaching to beat people up. We're not. First of all, if a kid comes in and we find out that he's fighting in school, we got a problem. We're sitting down. One of the main things is we're going to tell kids, and we do, I'm not training you to go fight. Meaning, like, don't go back to your school, don't go back to your neighborhood thinking that because you can throw a 1-2 right now that you're going to be the shit and start getting into altercations. No, that's not what we're building, okay? The second thing is to get to that level where you could actually maybe throw a punch on somebody or spar with somebody. There's so much steps in between. And it's kind of like the merit system, right? You know, you played sports, Manny. If you weren't in shape in the sport that you were playing in, coach wasn't putting you in.
No, you were third, fourth line. You were down there.
Right, and it showed, right?
Oh, yeah.
So in boxing, it's the same thing. You're going to get exposed. If you're not physically in shape, you're going to get exposed. Okay, we can make exceptions if you don't have talent. Okay? We can train you to the best that you can. The one thing you can do when you fight is be in shape. That's the one thing you have control of. You can be in conditioning. And like we talk to our kids, we're going to prepare you no matter what. If you get to the level where maybe you're going to compete, one thing you're going to be is in shape and ready to fight. What happens in a fight happens in a fight. You win fights you're supposed to lose. You lose fights you're supposed to win. Mm-hmm. That's boxing. That's sports, right? We don't really always, worrying about the outcome. We worry about what it takes to get you mentally ready to get there. But to get back to these kids today, yeah. We work with the probation department, with the youth, where they have kids on probation. I mean, I had a kid 15 years old was on probation. They called me up comes into the gym. I mean, at 15 years old, was already on probation. And you know what? The gratification as a coach is, look, coaching pros is a cherry. That's the icing on the cake, right? Like, great. Coaching people and watching them become better individuals, better athletes, that's satisfying.
Definitely. Because like you said, when you get to this, even upper amateur to the professional, they've got the basics.
Right.
They've got that. So now you can improve on what they have.
Right.
Like this 15-year-old who comes in with zero, probably physical and emotional, everything just at ground zero. You're the coach, man.
Yeah,
and you train it.
There's so many stories out of our gym of people, and we have a great coaching staff over there. So many people, Coach Benny, Coach Omar, AJ himself, Finelli Sr., so many mentors of these young kids over there. And you watch progression. Like, the greatest, for me, satisfaction is you get some kids, boys or girls, that come in and you see they really can't do too much or they're unsure of themselves. Then all of a sudden you see over the evolution of them. Whereas now, wow, that kid could actually throw some, and you see their confidence build. And you see, they're not that shy kid anymore. They walk a little different. They talk a little different. And respectful. Like, I got to say, once in a while you get a few of them,
sure.
Like anywhere, but respectful kids. And to watch, I think, because of society, we have so much today, phones, computers, so much stimulation available like that, right? To watch a kid come in and say, okay, Manny, this is what you got to do today, all right? And your coach is not always standing over you. You got to go do run. We have a board. The list is there. You follow the board before you go talk to your coach every day. It don't change. Like, kids come in and like, what do you want me to do today? Did you see the board? How many more times I got to tell you? Look at the board. When you're done doing the board, then come over, and we're going to decide what the thing is that day, whether we're drilling, whatever coaches are working on it that day that want to work with these kids.
So it's like teach that responsibility.
Yeah.
Here's what you're expected to do.
Right.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, do it. And one of the best lines that I heard is, and I got to just think of it, you have to do stuff when no one's looking. And that's not the way it's said. It's what you do when no one's looking. You know what I'm saying? It's like when everybody's watching you and you're hitting the bag, great. But are you hitting that bag when no one's in that gym? Or the coach is not there? Are you coming in? Or even in life, what are you doing? Are you home doing your work, getting prepared for your job or school? Are you doing your schoolwork at 2 o'clock in the morning when you know you got a paper?
I love that. What are you doing when no one's looking? You could talk all the shit you want. Yeah, this is what I'm doing, coach. You know what? You know they're lying because you know where they should be in their progression.
Oh, yeah.
You're not doing what you were supposed to be doing because you could tell. I love it. What are you doing when no one's watching?
Yeah. So, it's, I think, and we're a dying sport because it takes so long, right? When you sign your kid up for football, basketball, baseball, hockey, lacrosse, whatever it is, let's say football, they know they have 10 games or whatever it is, right? So every week, these kids go to the field, they practice. Saturday or Sunday, they play. If you're a good player, you play a lot. If you're so-so, but at the end of the week, I'm going to play. Boxing's not like that. You might train for 2 years and not have a fight.
I didn't even think about that. Because,
okay, and it's like, so, but it's going to take that long if you're new in the sport before you can be exposed. Maybe, depending on how you pick up. Some pick up faster, some don't. The sport kind of weeds everybody out. Once they're training and they get hit, it's a different ball game. But, we are picking up in the area of with this bullying thing, school systems are coming to us to teach a little bit more discipline.
Yeah, and again, it's not like you nailed it, Coach. We're not teaching you to go out and fight. We're teaching you a sport. I mean, it's a sport, man, boxing, and it's a talent. When you see all that goes into it, and it makes so much sense. To get to that point where you see the footwork, the handwork, the punches, the jabs, that's not day one. When you walk into the gym on first day, you're not jumping in the ring doing that stuff. And, what you're doing with these kids, from, the kids to the amateurs, and it's so good because they're all together, right? Do they see each other?
So, okay, our gym is, we have, when we're training, you'll have pros training in the ring with their coaches while the amateurs are around. Sometimes it depends who the pros are. They might want a little privacy if they're sparring, so they'll close the gym. We'll close it out. But on a whole, yeah. And that's the dynamic of a boxing gym, Manny, right? Here's the dynamic of a boxing gym, right? You walk in a boxing gym, there can be a guy from Wall Street. There can be a guy who's just got home from jail. Women, businessmen, athletes, pros, all in the same. And everybody just gelling together, a different type of respect.
Yep, and that's the thing. And then the great thing about that is with those different levels comes with your expectation. When you think you might be the baddest guy in there and you walk in and you see these pros, knock you down a little, make you a little, humble you a little bit to make you...
Well, you know what? Growing up, right, boxing, different dynamic, right? We were athletes. You played hockey, you played other sports, I played other sports, right? You didn't go to the field or to the rink, and I'll use you in hockey, right, in the sense, there weren't 5 guys from the Red Wings at the other side practicing while you were practicing at 10 years old, right? So now we got 10-year-old kids in there, right? Like I said, I'll use Ali Feliz, who fought last night on TV. He's fought on TV 5 times. He trains in champs to get his fights ready. Now, as a 10-year-old kid who likes the sport of boxing, he gets to see this. He gets to see what he's doing every day. He's a professional, right? So it goes one of two ways. It either becomes inspirational or he understands that, like, wow, he's really working this hard to get where he is, and kind of lead by example.
Yes, that's just amazing. And with your gym, I mean, some people are looking at it as, what? Yeah, they go in there with these kids, with these amateurs and these pros. I wish my kid could do that, but they're not to that level where they can compete at even an amateur level competitively, but they still want to get into the sport.
Yeah.
Or there may be some type of deficiencies. There might be a health issues or limitations because of handicap issues. That's something you deal with, right?
We have all sorts of kids. Kids with autism, kids with learning disabilities, kids that are OCD, attention deficit. The list goes on. And as far as kids that, not every kid's going to want to compete. Not every kid's going to want to fight. And that's fine. They get treated no different. Look, I do a Parkinson's class. My guy Randall's been training with me for 7 years. He don't get treated no different than any of my fighters.
When he's diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Yes. He trains, he can hit pads, he can move. So when he comes in for his 45 minutes that we work, he works. Okay?
There's no sugarcoating.
No.
And even with the other fighters or the people, the trainers, the coaches, that's the best thing. They don't come around and it's okay, Randall.
And you know what? Everybody's helpful. You know what? Everybody's there to want to help you, right? Like, okay, and that's the one thing about the boxing community is look, you'll have people walk by and say, hey, can I make a suggestion or can I do this for you? Hey, let me show you this. Okay, yeah. What think about that? You playing sports. I mean, me playing sports as a kid, I was lucky to be around some professionals, mid-level stuff. And to have a professional athlete come over to you and say, or a high-level amateur athlete give you a tip or be able to talk to him like this, man, that's good. That would have been great growing up. I would be like, I would have ate that up. You know what I mean? And that's where the dynamic of the boxing gym comes from. Our gym too is look, AJ Galante has done. He has a vision and a way of doing things when he builds. Okay, and a lot of people may not see that. Okay, he did it with the Trashers. Okay, at a young age, and he's done it with champs, and we're not done there. And I'm older than him. I'm 30 years older than him, and we talk a lot, and it's no, just listen, we're going to do it like this. Wait, you'll understand. And 90% of the time, he's on point of what it, because, he's got that young, let's build a culture, let's build a brand, put the stamp on it. And I come into that culture like, you're spoiling people. But we got more bags in here with logos than we got fighters. Now, but when you walk in there, you see it. It's where you say, yeah, I want to be here. This is where I want to train. There's a meaning behind it, and we're building team there, so that when we take these kids, we're getting some recognition, not only in the state but in the boxing world. We've had some great pros come through there and train. That's brought some success. We've branched out into bare knuckle athletes. I mean, we're training hockey players as team athletes. We had a girls softball team from Western Connecticut come in there and train for their conditioning. Youth baseball, youth football, youth basketball. So it's a diverse community, Manny. It's a very, you got to see the dynamic to really understand it. It's not, like you said, it's not two people sitting in the ring beating the shit out of each other.
And it sounds like everything that you're talking, like I said, we're old school when it comes to the different types of training games. But it sounds like Champs is a bit of both. It's old school with new age thinking. But it sounds like it's just that sense of pride and family. And that's the cool part of it. And I know that actually, me and AJ have been chit-chatting, and he's going to be coming on in the future. Good. So we're looking forward to, especially with our hockey backgrounds and stuff. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to talking to him about that. But just like you were just talking about how his vision, your vision, and how it's not my way or no way. It's both of your ways. Let's talk about it and build this. And look what it's turned into.
So to get on that for a little second, like, because
Sure.
I was always, like I said, had a lot of great mentors, and my dad was, he was very good at, I guess, playing his role as a coach. Sometimes he would be the head coach, assistant, whatever it was, you know. And the dynamic that we have in that gym is built like that. I see things differently.
You're talking about then your father, right?
No,
Growing up,
in the gym with AJ and
I
our
got
coaching and the way we have the dynamic is like each coach brings a little something different to the table. But at the end of the day, right, it's not about us. It's about the product we're putting out. It's about the name on the building, champs, right? It's about the fighter. And I think what happens is a lot of coaches out there today, because there's a lot of money involved, you know, kids on, you know, hockey, again, you take your kid and get a private lesson, forget it. You know, the equipment, the ice time, and everything else, a lot of money out there, right? So now you want to make your kid better. You want to send them to a skate coach. You got to pay the skate coach, right? You want to get them stronger, send them to a strength conditioning coach, right? Got to pay a strength conditioning coach, right? So, you know, there's so many different factors. And what we do is, like, at the end of the day, okay, if you're the strength coach, Manny, and I'm sending somebody to you, we need to sit down and say, look, what are we working on today with Johnny? Well, Johnny's slow, Manny. I need Johnny to do this. What do you think we could do for him? Okay, let's work together. That's the dynamic of champ. Everybody's staying in their lane, doing their job to make the end result. And I don't think you see that today in a lot of sports. There's too many egos out there. There's too many people.
That's just it too, man. You get sometimes where you get these coaches, and you know sometimes you get a coach who's put in a position with a lot of, you know, depending on a team or whatever, where you're blessed with a lot of great players, and it makes you look at it as a coach. But what happens when those players are gone or go up a division or whatever it may be, whether it's hockey or something like that, and then you get players who are well below that level of skill. Now you're going to see the true value of that coach. I know when I was growing up playing hockey, I mean, you hit on it too about how some of your coaches just inspired you. I had a couple that were just outstanding, starting out.
Right.
And then I thought, this is how they all are. And then I had a couple of years where all of a sudden it was like,
right.
It was like, you know, more doing this and like, okay, let's hurry this up. And it was just all about getting paid that extra to be a coach. And I really realized how, man, coaches are, I don't want to say always underappreciated, because the people who are involved in the sports know how much coaches are, the value and the time. My cousin, uncle coached the little ones forever. And seeing the time and effort, but then seeing the look on these kids' faces when you get a coach like yourself who puts themselves into this is so commendable, man. And
listen, my dad has passed, but you know, I have another good friend of mine who my dad actually coached. He coached me in junior college, Bob Peretti. I mean, we're friends today, and he, like you said, you pass through different levels of people in your life that shape your life and show you different things, and it's kind of a art of passage, right? And what you said is like, yeah, you see the coaches when you're young, and then you get to another coach and you're like, that's not what. But you know, it makes a mark on you, I think, and I don't know if we're going to see that anymore today.
Yeah, it just.
I don't know. It's the way. Maybe I'm so well removed, being older and where I am now, but I don't know, man. I don't know, because at the end of the day, right? Coaching. I'll use you in hockey because what are you going to tell Wayne Gretzky as a coach? Hey, Wayne, you're doing good. Great. Give him some water. Wayne, you want to rest? Nope. You want to stay out there? Great. We could all coach him, right?
Sure.
I don't know that much about hockey. I played it, but I don't know the coaching level of it, right?
I can coach
him. I can coach Wayne Gretzky, right? But when we take a kid who knows nothing, that's when you see if you can coach. And the other thing is, we're dealing with personality. So in today's society, even more so. Because years ago, coaches intimidated. I had a football coach, right? Mr. Kaminsky, right? Smoked non-filters, had the high top blacks, was an ex-Marine, flat top, right? White T-shirt, cigarettes rolled up. Youth football, right? Youth football coach. Yell, scream, curse, smoke throughout the whole pack. Would line up against you and block you, no pads. Keep you out there in the mud and everything. That guy, they probably would have emailed him to death today.
Oh, my God.
But you know what? Made an impact in my life. All right?
Yes.
So now, you're not able to coach like that today. You can't yell. You can't curse. You can't do it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. There is a time to raise your voice as a coach. There is a time that you have to motivate your players a little bit, That is a dying breed today.
Yes.
And not only in sports, but in anything. People don't want to be talked to, sir. People don't want to hear the truth. Truth hurts, right? You don't want hey, Manny, you know what? You suck today, right?
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare you, man? I remember playing on a team. We were number one team in the county, undefeated. The coaches came in the locker room, went down us. We played a bad game. We won, right? They were ready to change the lineup the next day. What did you think you've done so far? You've done nothing. Boom, 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 down the line, right? Talk to a kid like that today. Your kid comes home and says, hey, Dad, Mr. So-and-so talk. What? What do you mean?
Pull it right off the team or something that, or call the head of the association. And then, I'm sure you've seen now, everyone gets a trophy at the end of the season. If you played, you get a trophy, the participation trophy. I remember growing up, I couldn't wait to get a trophy. When I was little, to see these kids with them. And I remember my uncle, you want one? Earn it. Earn it. Because I remember he had a trophy one time, and I took the trophy. Yeah. And as a kid, I had a police masking tape, and I wrote Manny on it, and I put it on there. It was just and I put it there, and as a joke.
Yeah.
Took that name off. You'll get one when you earn it.
Listen, and getting a trophy was wow. If your team got a trophy or you got an award, you went to the team dinner and they called you up and they said, oh, here's Johnny. Johnny got the most improved, or Johnny was the MVP, and you're in front of your friends. Yes. Your friend's family, and you went to school the next day. I got the trophy, pal.
And everyone's
it's right there. It's right there. It meant something.
Yep, it meant something. Instead of I talked to my uncles who coach, and that's how they taught me. My uncles, my Uncle Mike, he taught me that way growing up, and so now coaching, he's had to evolve into where you're at. It's old style, new style, and having that fine line. But thank God for people like you. Thank God for people like my Uncle Mike and all that.
Yeah.
So, Coach, for what you're doing and continue to do, what you have done with you and AJ Galante and everything with Champs Gym, you're making such a huge change in people's lives.
It's got to like doing what you're doing, and we like doing what we're doing. I spend, I have a full-time job, I have a family, but I'm at Champs probably the majority of the time. And it's you know what? It's a comfortable environment. I was there all morning, came here for you, right? It's just part of my routine every day.
Yeah, and you know what? We've met a few times now.
Yeah.
Getting to know it. When you talk about your sport that you love, which is boxing, and the passion that you have for that. And there's times where you kind of look away and you're talking about it, and I'm looking at it, and you could just see you glow, with the love that you have of this sport. And you glow even more when you're talking about sharing your knowledge with these kids. And that just shows the type of person that you are.
Yeah, and you're the same. You've had a lot of experiences in your life. We've talked about this before. You've shared your life, a very diverse life. You know what I mean? You've experienced reality of life. And that's the other thing. Not only in the coaching, I bring reality from, where I grew up, people around me, seeing situations. I don't know. I was always brought up to be realistic. Be realistic of what it is, and it is what it is. But I can kind of, I guess, my kids make fun of me because they, you're older and they don't understand what was 30 years ago, 40 years ago, the things that we did or grew up, because society was different. Nobody will ever understand that, right? Nobody go back and say, yeah, we had to walk to school or you did this or, We went out. You grew up in Detroit. You guys were out in the cold. You send a kid out in the cold. Oh, my God. Give him 42 jackets. Right? You guys were on the ice playing hockey or wherever it was, or running around in the snow.
We're canceling school because it's just below 30.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's below 30. You know, we need special jackets.
Yeah.
There's boots and everything else. But, no, I mean, it's just you are doing a lot of great stuff, too. I mean, so it kind of falls in, and I think people need that today.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. We need to obviously roll with the changes and roll with the times, but I always feel that we have to take the respect and the lessons learned with our parents, our grandparents, that respect and that drive and that loyalty and the commitment to family and respect.
Yeah.
And no matter what, if you start losing respect for yourself and your family, I don't care. There is no sugarcoating it. You're in for a rough ride. And so again,
but
Coach,
like you said, we grew up that way.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah,
one thing, right? One thing you had to do is like, you know what? Like you wised off once in a while, right? But you respected your parents, you respected the people that were important in your life, and if you wised off, you knew you had to be careful what was coming back at you. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I tell you, the old Italian man, we had it was a slipper, a shoe, a wooden spoon. You were getting something, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? We ended up okay, and now we're sharing. And
listen, it's you know what? There's like, I look back and you say, yeah, there was probably some fucked up shit that happened in life back then, like anywhere, right?
Sure.
But you know what? It didn't kill you. It didn't hurt you. It shaped you a little bit.
It made us stronger.
It made you stronger, like, to go through situations and look at yourself and look what you're doing now. Look at the great things. Look at all the people that you're helping that you could tell. And you know what? I think it's important because if you didn't go through those wars, right? How's anybody going to believe what you guys say?
Exactly. We made it through, and now sharing that, let other people know that there is a light. And so, Coach, man, I thank you so much for coming on again. And this is, like I said, this is ongoing, man. This is just the beginning. We're going to be coming down to the gym.
That'd be good.
Working and doing some speaking there with you guys.
With AJ. I think that's a very great idea right there. I think people, need to be educated today about certain things. And you know what? If we help one person, we help one person.
Yeah,
if we help 10, great. But you know what? It's going to be that one person that maybe comes up to you afterwards and says, "Can I talk to you?" And tell you, what's going on in my life.
Yep. So we're going to be part of the Champs family.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Just like you are part of my Fight Our Wars family.
Our network is, it's about networking today out there. Who can, like you said, family help each other. You never know.
Exactly.
I might have to call you up and say, Manny, I got somebody I need you to talk to for me, please.
That will be there.
You know what I mean?
Same to you, man.
And that's big, and I appreciate that. But I appreciate you having me. It's an honor. I wish you much success. You're doing great things.
Thank you, Coach.
And there's a lot of people out there that are going to benefit from what you're bringing.
Well, please let people know how they can get a hold of you on social media, where they can go to find out about Coach Dave, and where they can find out more about you.
All right, a couple things. So I coach at Champs Boxing. You can find us at Champs Boxing on Instagram. My Instagram is Coach Dave at Champs Boxing on Instagram, Coach Dave at TikTok. My podcast, Coach's Corner, is on YouTube, Coach Dave CT. Take a look. We drop every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Wide stories out there. Reach out to me anytime. And I'll answer you back, questions, whatever it is. Just hit me up, and I'll be happy to answer you back. And once again, I appreciate you, Manny. Really was an honor to come out here today.
Thanks again, Coach. And like I said,
yes, sir.
This is just the beginning. We're starting off. So thank you, Coach Dave. Thank you for everybody for watching us. And please remember to check us out at My Fight Our War. Of course, we're on Facebook, and you can check us out on YouTube at Manny Vitale, My Fight Our War. Until next time, man, keep fighting the good fight.